Hello. Hello. I have to start talking very quietly when I come back so that so that I don't scare you. I'm not going to go through the whole process of doing the intro music and all that because we've already been hanging out together all day. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, all that good stuff. All right, so it is already 3:47. Today went by a lot. There was a lot more today than I thought. So what we can do, my voice is stuck in the portal. Is it echoing? What do you hear? What does it sound like? Am I portaling? Am I echoing? Is it aliens? You're not allowed to say that word. Y'all got jokes. Y'all are so funny. So fresh and so clean. Oh, nope, not fresh. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We are going to we're just going to watch for a little bit and see how it goes. We got so much today was so much more involved than I had originally anticipated. And y'all look stale. Not fresh at all. Stale. Yes. Y'all are so funny. Holly Mac says Lisa Wilmot is a repeat forbidden word offender. Mods blocker from the channel. Just joking. We can't live without our Lisa. It has been a fun day, but it has been one of those days that has been quite a moment. It's been a moment. It has been a moment. So we're going to watch for a little bit. There's no way that we can make it through all of today. I don't know how long I think 7 hours or something. And I had thought that we were going to be done with everything by 11. That shows how much I know. So we have about another 35 minutes from yesterday that we didn't get. So we'll do that first. Or less. What time did they end yesterday? Let's see here. Oh my God, I forgot how bad the audio is. Oh, I forgot.
Did you see or observe her upper half as well that Officer Polar was rotating?
Most of.
Okay. Was your attention focused more on the hip and thigh area?
Yes.
Or advise her what the plan was?
Yes.
And was she able to get up herself?
Yes.
Right. So how did she go out, get from underneath Ann's body?
Officer Polar and myself at one point had to move the body to assist her to slide out.
Okay. Now let's break that down a little bit. You say you had to assist in moving Ann's body?
Yes.
Okay. Starting with Officer Polar, and again, using Exhibit 6 perhaps as a point of reference, describe to the
We left off on
changed her clothes, right?
Okay, real quick. We left off on, because my little timestamp thing is gone. They had just finished the, yeah, I mean, sounds low because this audio sucks. We had the same problem yesterday. I don't really know what I can do about it. That's, I mean, that sound being that low is even with the booster. Let me see if it will boost it more on the other one. Because I remember we were watching her. Oh, it's got my time. Oh, okay. It's got my time on this one. Exactly where we left off on this one. Okay, perfect. That's why, because we were watching it on this one instead of the other one. Sound booster. Let's see how much we can boost it. The audio is terrible. I can't really do a whole lot about it. I'm kind of left to.
You guys asked her for her clothes, and she voluntarily gave them to you, right?
I believe the state police did, yes.
Okay. So it wasn't a situation where she said, ha, let me go in the room and change my clothes, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So you asked her for her clothes, and she cooperated and gave you the clothes, right?
She did give them her clothes, yes.
Okay. And then, sir, with respect to Trooper McGarion's arrival, whenever that was, sir, is it fair to say that he took over the investigation, he was in charge when he got there?
That is correct.
And is that because he had experience in
I'm
investigating
eating, by the
homicides?
way.
That's who we used, yes.
Because they're the state police, right?
Correct.
And no one on your department, not just you, but nobody in your department had any experience investigating homicides. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
And it hadn't been.
Thank you, Allie B from Tennessee. But this is where this is paused and stopped right where we left. Because this is the last like 35 minutes. Unless
Murder in Brandi,
y'all watched it without
50
me.
years before this. Is that fair to say?
Probably fair to say.
Okay. And so when when Trooper McGarion, Detective Trooper? Okay, Detective
Allie
Trooper
B, have you been
McGarry
cheating on
arrived,
us?
he took over, right?
That's correct.
And he's the one who made decisions about what should happen that night and where everyone went. Is that right?
That's my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And when you were speaking with Cara Rintala that night at the kitchen table, she wasn't trying to hide the fact that she had this argument with Annamarie the night before over a male guest that was at her house, right?
Not at all.
She didn't try to hide that not once, right?
No, she did not.
Okay. And she didn't do anything to try to hide her phone, right?
No.
In fact, she gave you her phone, right? She
This
gave
is
the phone
Mark.
over in the investigation?
I believe she had.
Okay. And that was voluntarily,
Mark.
right?
I would imagine, yes.
Okay. And she also gave permission to search the house, right?
Yes,
She wasn't looking for anyone to go get a search warrant. She just said, do it, search the house, right?
that's correct.
Because she was cooperating in the investigation.
To my knowledge, yes.
I don't have any further.
May I?
You may.
Lieutenant, I just want to follow up on your testimony regarding your rocky boots and the boot prints that we observed in the photograph.
This
Now,
is
I
the
believe you
Lieutenant
indicated
Mark
that you
or
had
whatever.
stepped through paint.
That is correct.
Okay. And were you aware that you were stepping through paint at the time you were stepping through paint?
At that particular time, not until I moved,
Okay.
Thank you,
And
Virginia
how
Little.
did you become aware that you had stepped through paint?
because I left footprints,
Okay. And how do you know that you left those boot prints?
because I watched myself do it.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Every time I took a step, I made a print.
Okay. Does that include the prints that we're seeing here on exhibit number 6 that you indicated were around Anne-Marie's right hand?
By her hand in her head, yes, that would be me.
Okay. And you watched yourself make those?
I did.
Okay. I know you indicated that you didn't ask anyone to take your shoes. Do you remember if anyone did take your
I
shoes?
do believe the state police did.
Okay. So you didn't ask anyone to take them,
No, I did not.
but they did take them.
I believe they did.
All right, hold on. Let me look.
So just to clarify in regards to the initial dispatch, I believe you testified that the dispatch was for a possible domestic disturbance.
See if we can see the time frame.
That it's, in addition to those 3 words, you receive.
See if I get my old lady
information
glasses.
man in a basement, correct?
Hold on. Let me see if I can get my old lady glasses so I can see the time frame from where we left off. All right. From when I go to stop it for our interview. Okay, right before. It doesn't have a time frame. It doesn't have a time frame. Hey, let's. Oh, I hate my voice. Let me mute. Let's see. It doesn't have a time frame that I can see. How far into this one was it? Do y'all know? I just have to go by what y'all tell me because I don't remember things if I'm not taking notes, and I didn't take notes on this one.
Basic life support that we can do in the field.
Now, when
Allie
you
B
became
from
a
Tennessee,
full-time
tell me
member
if
of the
this
Brandi
is-
Police Department. Describe to the jury what your duties, ranks, and assignments consisted of during years.
When I first became full-time, I was the first full-time school resource officer in the department, so I spent 3 years doing that. From that position, I moved into being a full-time detective position for the next 3 years, and then shortly after that, I was promoted to the rank of sergeant.
And what did your duties consist of as a sergeant compared to a patrol officer?
When I became a sergeant, I worked.
Oh, I think they actually didn't go for
Now, at
another
that
30
point,
minutes
given that
yesterday.
you were not going to attempt to resuscitate Annamarie Rintala,
I think
what
we ended
did
up
you and your partner decide was the next step you would take?
barely missing anything.
To preserve the crime scene.
Now, what do you mean by preserve the scene?
We were going to evacuate the area and just secure the scene.
And you said a moment ago, you used the word crime scene.
Correct.
Why did you use that term?
Correct.
Because there was a lot of things that seemed out of place to me,
Mhm.
a lot of things that seemed suspicious that I couldn't deem, I don't have the experience to say it's not.
Mhm.
So we treat everything as a crime scene at that point.
Until proven otherwise?
Yes.
Did you know what Annamarie Rintala's cause of death was at this point?
No.
So what decision
Sorry, I gotta
did you
eat.
and your officer Polar make at that point?
We decided to have.
Is this right?
Leave the scene.
Did you ask her or advise her what the plan was?
Yes.
And was she able to get up herself?
Yes.
So how did she go out, get from underneath Ann's body?
Officer Polar and myself at one point had to move the body to assist her to slide out.
Okay. Now let's break that down a little bit. You say you had to assist in moving Ann's body?
Yes.
Okay. Starting with Officer Polar.
Trina
and
Hetherington,
using
gifted a
Exhibit
membership.
6 perhaps as a point of reference, describe to the jury where you recall Officer Polar being when you and he worked together to move her body.
He would have been up by the head area towards the right hand, in that area there.
Okay, and where would you have been?
I would have been down.
It went to Auntie Candy.
Just in front of where the bag is, standing at the hip area.
Could you actually step down with the court's permission? There's a pointer leaning up in the corner there, Sergeant, excuse me, Chief, and just point out to the jury where you were at that point.
I was standing in this area here.
And where was Officer Polar?
He would be in this area up here.
Okay.
I love the old
Thank
school
you very
pointer.
much. So how did you and Officer Polar sort of work together? What did he do and what did you do to move Ann's body?
Officer Polo was up by the arm area and I was at the hip area. And then at one point, we both rotated the body onto the left side.
Okay. So for you, what motion would that have involved?
I would have been holding and pushing on the hip area, hip and thigh area.
Okay. And as you sort of lifted and pushed Annamarie's right hip and thigh area. Describe to the jury what you felt and what you observed.
What I felt and observed is the body moved as one unit. It was very stiff and it moved all in the same pattern. There was no bend to it, there was no flex to it.
We saw this part.
Any flex?
Yes,
Did you give the defendant any instructions in terms of touching or not touching anything along the way?
we did.
What did you say?
Just asked her to keep her hands in and please don't touch anything on the way up the stairs.
Did she comply with those orders?
Absolutely.
What was the order in which the three of you went up the stairs?
I went up first, Cara was in the middle, then Officer Cole was coming up last.
What happened when the three of you got to the top of the stairs?
They went into the kitchen area
Where'd you go?
and then I went outside.
Okay, what was your purpose in going outside?
The purpose at that point was to make the notifications to, actually to call dispatch and then make notifications to the ME's office, the Massachusetts State Police CPAC unit, and as well as the chief of police, part of our protocols.
And what was it, what was your reasoning behind calling in the reinforcements, so to speak?
We have to for an unattended death.
Did you start creating a log or a list of the times and people who were arriving at the scene?
I did.
At some point, did you observe either any paramedics arrive on scene?
I did.
Who do you recall arriving on scene?
Mike Farron, Gene Oz, and Mike Pandora.
Okay. Did you know them both before that night?
Yes,
And the order in which you just listed them, Gene Oz and then Mike Pandora, was that the order in which they arrived?
I honestly don't recall which one arrived first.
Do you recall having any conversation with either of them?
Very little.
Marie
At
Moss.
some point, do you
These-
recall members of the state police detective unit starting to arrive on scene?
I did.
And when I say state police detective unit,
They look like
based on the
those.
fact that you were a sergeant then and that you're a chief now, who is the state police detective unit? Like when do you call them in?
Any serious crimes, we have to be called for, again, unattended deaths that are suspicious.
And I think you used the term a couple of minutes ago, CPAC.
Yes,
Am I right? That's what the state police detective unit used to be known by?
It's pushing it.
Crime prevention and control. Okay.
that is their old name, I guess.
So SPDU, State Police Detective Unit, CPAC, just to be clear, same thing?
Yes,
Okay. Do you recall how long you remained on the scene that evening? Approximately?
all the way until the next morning.
And did you maintain that crimes, that log I was talking about the whole time, or did you hand it off to a colleague at some point?
At one point, it was turned over to a police, on the state police unit.
Can I just have a moment, Your Honor, please?
May.
Thank you very much, Chief. I don't have any further questions for you.
You can say brand new paint. That's allowed. So it looks like they dismissed them after that. So really, when I thought we had 30 more minutes, they were really pretty much done. Which is great. It means we didn't have much. What is happening? It's like just buttons are pushing themselves, aliens.
About this case, please.
Oh, hey.
actively
Hey.
remove yourself from that
Look at Judge without his mask on. Hey, Judge.
situation.
All right,
So
I see you.
we'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
I see you. You cute. You cute, Judge. All right. Let's go now to day 2. And we'll just get through what we can before I start getting really tired. Day 2. And this one's 7 hours, but Oh, audio is better
Paul.
today.
Testifying that.
Oh, they just jumped right in it.
Remember that Annamarie Rintala's arms were about 6 to 8 inches off the ground when you saw her.
Yes, I did testify to that.
Okay. And was that the first time you testified to that?
I don't recall.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Do you remember your testimony in February of 2013? Sure. In February of 2013, when you were asked questions about Anne-Marie's arms, and this is page 17.
Arms.
Lines 8 through 16. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
May. And counsel, and this goes for all counsel, I appreciate the deference, but you need not ask my permission if you want to approach a witness or if you want a witness to approach the screen.
Thank you.
Just-
I'll try,
just
but I
don't
wanna
say
make-
fresh.
It's okay if you're not a habit.
Thank you. Can you read lines 3 through 15 to yourself, please, sir?
He's a cutie. I mean, we're already in like 2026 or something, but we just keep adding. Where's my little 10-second thing?
Thank you. Sir, is it fair to say that when you were describing the position of Anne Rintala's arms back in February 2013, you didn't use the term 6 to 8 inches? Is that fair to say, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And then, again, when you described this in January of 2014, it's fair to say, well, first of all, do you remember using the 6 to 8 inch description that you gave us yesterday?
In 2014?
Yes.
Interesting. I don't recall.
Oh, the right arrow does it?
Do you remember, this is page 76, lines 14 and 15. I'm going to ask you, sir, to I'm sorry, 77 lines 18 through 25. Can you read those yourself, please, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, now I got my 10 seconds back. You can't tell me nothing. We're freezing through this. We didn't come here to watch you read.
Described Annamarie Rintala's arms there. You didn't use the 6 to 8 description that you gave us yesterday. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
And then in September of 2016, do you remember whether or not you used the 6 to 8 inches off the ground like you told us yesterday?
I don't recall.
This is page 20, lines 1 through 7. Can you read those yourself, please, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like having a moment. It needs fresh batteries.
So just to be clear, the whole page?
Just
Don't
lines
tell
1
them
through
that.
7, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank
Please.
you.
I'm sorry, maybe I didn't make that
You
clear.
you did. I just wanted to make sure. I apologize.
Fair to say, sir, when you described Annamarie Rintala's arms back in 2016, you didn't use the phrase that you used yesterday, 6 to 8 inches. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you see his
Would
on?
you, sir, that your memory would have been fresher back in 2013, 14, 16 than it is today?
I wouldn't agree with that.
Well, your memory gets better,
Well, I wouldn't be able to say whether it was better or wasn't better. It was the question that I was asked.
okay? But you agree you didn't say 6 to 8 in 2013, 14, or 16, is that right?
That is correct.
Fair and you don't agree that your memory in 2023 is different than your memory in 2010. Is that what you're saying?
I don't believe so, after reading reports and reviewing my testimony from the
Oh, so it's
past.
not your memory, it's the fact that you read reports.
Correct,
Okay, so you don't have any independent memory, is that right?
that's right.
Overruled.
You don't have any independent memory, is that what you're gonna say, sir?
Of,
Of the position of the arms?
I have absolute memory of the position of the arms.
The 6 to 8 inches, do you have independent memory of that, sir?
I don't have any memory asked that question before.
I'm sorry?
I don't have any memory of being asked that question before.
Well, you were asked questions about the position of the arms, just like
Correct.
you were yesterday, right?
Correct,
Yesterday you said 6 to 8, but you didn't say that in 2013, 14, or 16, is that right, sir?
correct.
He's
Now,
sassy.
sir, you also testified
Like her.
yesterday regarding, I think you used the word rigid when describing Annamarie's body. Do you remember that testimony from yesterday?
Yes,
And sir, is it fair to say that you hadn't used it, well, do you recall using the word rigid before?
I don't.
Okay. And did you use the word rigid describing Annamarie's body in 2013?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you remember whether or not you used the word rigid when you described Annamarie's body in 2014?
I don't recall.
Wait.
Sir, do you remember in 2016 whether or not you used the word rigid?
I don't recall.
Now, let me show you your testimony in 2014. This is page 91. Could you read lines 18 through 21 to yourself, please, sir?
He didn't come here to read.
Thank you. It's fair to say, sir, that when you described, you were answering questions about the body there, you didn't use the term rigid, is that right?
I did not.
Okay. Now, sir, in 2016, when you were talking about the rigor, do you remember whether or not you used the word rigid to describe anything there, sir?
I don't recall.
This is page 28, lines 12
Right.
through 17. Can you read that to yourself, please, sir?
Yes.
She sure is making him read a lot.
It's fair to say there you didn't use the word rigid when you were describing, well, when you were answering a question regarding the stiffness of the body. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
28.
Maybe approach that, please.
Take a shot, do a squat. Take a shot, do a squat. Oh, see, we get to fast forward through these. What is happening? Oh. Bam. Bam.
So, sir, I'm going to answer again before we took a break. When you were describing rigor mortis in 2016, and I just showed you that transcript, you weren't using the word rigid, is that right?
Yes.
Now, sir, I'm going to ask you a few questions about what you observed when you were there. So I think you indicated fairly early that once you decided that there was no way to revive Annamarie Rintala, that your next focus was on securing the crime scene, is that right?
Yes.
And in your mind, it was crime scene, right?
Yes.
And just in terms of assessing rigor mortis, I think yesterday you said that when you were turning Annamarie's body, you were at the hip level, is that right?
Yes.
And that that's when you use the word rigid, is that right?
I believe so.
And is it fair to say that you don't have any training, formal training in assessing rigor mortis, is that right?
Other than first responder training, that's all I've had.
So is that a yes or no? You haven't had any formal training in assessing rigor mortis?
Am I an expert? No.
Not what I asked you, sir. Have you had any formal training in assessing rigor mortis?
I don't know if first responder training that I had is considered formal, but that's the only training I've had in detecting rigor mortis. So I don't know if you consider that formal or not. I don't know what you're defining as formal.
Oh, sorry, you're being asked this question on January 13th of 2014, being asked the question, and would you agree with me that you have no training in terms of assessing rigor mortis, and your answer was yes? Remember that, sir?
Yes.
Didn't say anything about your EMT training or anything like that, first responder training, right? You said yes.
Yes.
And today your answer is not yes, right?
Objection.
Overruled.
And sir, would you agree with me that nobody ever showed you how to properly assess rigor mortis, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And that, would you agree that the time that you were in that basement, that what you knew about rigor mortis was something that had been described to you as stiffness in the joints? Is that fair to say, sir?
Yes.
And not more than stiffness in the joints, right?
Correct.
And it's fair to say, sir, that nobody has shown you how to properly assess someone to see if they're rigor mortis. Is that right?
Correct.
And you agree that rigor mortis is a medical term, right?
Yes.
And the word liver mortis, sir. Have you been trained in how to assess liver mortis?
I have not.
Have you had any training in death scene investigation?
I have not.
Have you responded to a homicide before you responded to this scene on March 29th, 2010?
I have not.
And I think you said yesterday that there was another officer, Officer Kohler, at Annamarie Rintala's elbow. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever see Officer Kohler attempt to bend Annamarie Rintala's elbow?
I did not.
Okay. Did you see Officer Kohler attempt to move Annamarie Rintala's shoulder?
I did not.
Okay. And you said yesterday that you pushed on the hip. Is that right?
Yes.
But you didn't do anything to manipulate her leg or her hip in any way. Is that right?
Correct.
And sir, I think you said yesterday that once you removed Cara Rintala from underneath Annamarie Rintala's body, you directed someone to stay with her, right?
Yes.
She wasn't free to walk around that house at that point. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
You wanted an officer with her at all times. Is that right?
Yes.
And that in fact happened. There was an officer with her at all times. Is that right?
To the best of my knowledge.
Now, sir, in your memory, sir, is that at some point in time, you gave Cara Rintala instructions not to touch anything, and she followed those instructions, right?
Yes,
She didn't try to touch anything on the way up the stairs, is that right?
correct.
She didn't try to touch walls, is that right?
Correct.
She didn't try to touch anything other than what you told her to do, which was put her arms like this, right?
Yes,
And she followed those instructions.
absolutely.
Now, sir, you were in charge for a little while anyhow of the crime scene log, were you not?
Yes.
Okay. And can you explain to the jury what a crime scene log is?
It's a running list of keeping anybody who phone calls that are made or people that arrive on scene, that enter the scene, the time they come in, the time they leave. It keeps a kind of track of who's on scene
And why is it important to have a crime scene log?
to preserve the crime scene, to make sure that we have everything accounted for.
And is that to protect the integrity of the crime scene, is that right?
Yes,
And one of the things that you protect in terms of the integrity of the crime scene is access to and from a house. Is that fair to say?
yes,
And in order to protect the integrity of the crime scene, you want to limit the number of people who are in the house and limit the number of people who go in and out any doors of the house. Is that fair to say?
fair to say, yes.
And that's because crime scene hasn't been there yet. They haven't had the opportunity to do any testing. And you want to try to preserve that crime scene at that point. Is that right?
Yes,
Now, sir, do you remember how many times you yourself went in and out that side door that night?
I can account for up until the crime log 4 times I was in and out. I went in, came back out, in, back out.
Okay. And it's fair to say that you saw Oz go in and out through that door, is that right?
Yes,
You saw Pandora go in and out through that door, is that right?
yes,
And you saw Pola go in and out through that door, is that right?
yes,
And that was on a number of occasions, is that fair to say?
yes,
Okay. And that was before you had established sort of the preservation of the crime scene, is that right?
I believe that's when I started the crime scene as it was indicated,
Okay.
with the log.
And there were other people other than just the ones that I mentioned that were coming in and out through that door, right?
Correct.
And sir, when you were at the house that evening, do you remember having any conversations with anyone regarding a domestic?
I don't recall that.
You don't? Oh, sorry. Adam. Could you read, I'm sorry, page 51, lines 19 to 25. Can you read those to yourself, please? All set?
Just want to
Take it down.
make sure I'm understanding what.
I don't have the papers from where it was overturned. I didn't have anything pulled on this or done on this because I wasn't planning on
Sir, does
covering
that
it.
refresh your memory as to whether or not you had any conversations about domestic that night?
As indicated there, when I spoke.
Just yes, does it refresh your memory?
It does, yes.
And is it true, sir, that you did have conversations regarding domestic that night?
And I don't recall exactly what words were used.
Well, sir,
Word for word, I don't understand. I strike that.
you don't understand the word domestic?
That's not what I said.
Okay.
Word for word, I remember the exact conversation.
I'm not asking about word for word. I'm saying, did you have conversations regarding a domestic? You said you didn't remember, right?
Correct.
And after having read this, page 51 from September 15th, 2016, it refreshed your memory that you did have conversations, right?
I did.
Okay.
This is in Massachusetts.
Now, sir,
You can hear her accent.
have you had the opportunity before today to review your crime scene log?
I did.
Okay. And you in fact put your crime scene log in your report, is that fair to say?
Yes.
And that's pretty common. When you create a crime scene log, you either separately document it or you put it in the report. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, sir, do you remember from your crime scene report, log, I'm sorry, what time that Trooper McGarrian got to the scene?
Offhand, don't remember. I don't recall.
This is page 4 of the report. Can you just read?
Mhm.
this
That's
thing
all right.
highlighted to yourself?
Okay.
Sir, after having read that, does that refresh your memory as to what time Trooper McGarrian got to the scene that night?
It does.
And what time did you have in your report, sir?
20, 35 hours.
Okay, and for those of us who are not military,
Sorry.
can you tell, no, don't be sorry at all. Can you tell us what 35 means?
It'd be 8:35 p.m.
Okay. Now, sir, do you ever remember talking or having conversations with a Trooper Holman, Holman, regarding domestic?
I don't recall speaking to him about that.
This is the report, June 3rd, 2010, paragraph 2. Can you read page 1, paragraph 2? Can you just read that line to yourself, stopping right here? You don't have to read any of that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry, whose report is this?
Sure. This is a report of Trooper Holman.
Was it not his?
Right. Not his. I'm using it to refresh his memory.
I understand, Counsel. Thank you.
Sir, after having read that, does that refresh your memory as to whether or not you had a conversation with Trooper Holman, where you reported to him that there was a history of domestic at the residence?
Yes, it does.
And you in fact said that to Trooper Holman, right?
Yes.
Now, sir, you also, sir, so in addition to being there that night, you stayed involved in some of the investigation in this case, is that fair to say?
Yes.
And you assisted Trooper McGarrian when you could, is that right?
Yes.
And sir, do you remember at some point interviewing or being present when there were interviews of Donna Olasak and her daughter Shannon Olasak?
Don't recall.
This is a report from Trooper McGarrian dated June 15, 2011. Can you read that to yourself, please, sir?
He didn't come here to read. I think we're gonna go because it's 4:30 my time, so it's almost 5. I think we're gonna go for. We'll find like a natural stopping point, and then we'll watch the rest of it tomorrow. Find a natural stopping point in a few minutes. I'm really tired, y'all, and I've still got to work on the podcast.
I did.
Does that refresh your memory as to whether or not you were present during an interview of two witnesses, or two people, Donna Olasak and Shannon Olasak, back on June 15th, 2011?
It does.
Okay, sir. And at that point, this wasn't the first time that you were involved in investigations like this, right? And I'm sorry, bad question, really bad question. Let me start again. So this wasn't the first time in this investigation that you were involved in assisting Trooper McGarrian with various aspects of the investigation, is that right?
That is correct.
And Trooper McGarrian would keep you apprised of what was happening in the investigation, is that right?
Correct.
And in a certain sense, you guys were trying to work together, right?
Correct.
And so on this particular date, you understood, or did you understand, the purpose of speaking to Donna Olasak and Shannon Olasak?
Yes.
And was that to try to verify the Bob's discount furniture store information?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And is that because you had learned in the course of your investigation that Mark Olasak had initially said that he would?
Sidebar. Take a shot, do a squat. We currently have 9,531 subs. It's not too bad. We're just a growing. Very exciting.
Hear about what what people other than this witness said or did in relation to the investigation is only being introduced so that you can assess the investigation, the steps that the police took or didn't take, and for that limited purpose only. And I will give you a more detailed instruction at the end of the trial concerning evidence of the sort, but I just want to alert you to the limited purposes that you, for which you may consider this evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Chief Smith, I'm going to ask you again. Before we broke, I asked you.
Hi, y'all that are
whether or not
coming
you
in.
Understood when you went to interview Don Olasak and Shannon Olasak, whether or not Mark Olasak had originally reported that he went to physical therapy and was home the rest of the day, and you discovered that wasn't true.
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay. And did you also understand before you went on June 15, 2011, to interview Don Olasak and Shannon Olasak that Mark Olasak had credit cards, 3 of them, that he had given to Annamarie Rintala with a balance of about $7,000 on the date of her death. Is that right?
From what I can recall.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
And then you also learned in the course of your investigation that Mark Olasak was in his relationship with Annamarie Rintala, would engage in conduct like going to the movies, is that right?
Correct.
Going to dinner, is that right?
From what I recall.
Going out for drinks, is that right?
From what I can recall.
Hugging, is that right?
From what I can recall.
Kissing on the corner of the mouth, is that right?
From what I can recall.
And you had learned in the course of your investigation that Mark Olasak said that he was home all day initially, is that right? After he went to physical therapy.
Correct.
And in sometime in 2011, did you get access to Mark Olasak's credit card receipts for the date of March 29, 2011 in the course of your investigation?
Mark
I
Olasak.
don't recall that.
You don't?
I don't.
Well,
Get any access.
you don't recall getting access to it. Oh, did you become aware that somebody got access to the
Correct.
credit card receipts?
Yes.
Not you personally, that was a bad question. Somebody got access to the credit card receipts, is that right?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge. Yes.
And you learned that Mark
Credit
Olasak,
card.
in the course of your investigation, had been to Home Depot that morning, is that right?
Correct.
And that he had gone to Walmart, is that right?
Correct.
And that at Walmart, he had purchased a $7 pair of pants, is that right?
To the best of my knowledge.
And that purchase took place sometime around 4:30 on March 29th, 2010, is that right?
To the best of my knowledge at the time.
So can you just look at this document and tell me whether or not you recognize it?
I don't recognize the document.
No?
I don't.
Okay. Sir, do you ever remember being told by Trooper McGarrian that there was a $7 purchase from Walmart back on March 29th, 2010 at 16:28:15?
I don't recall.
Again, could you give us that military equivalent at 16:28:15?
That would be 4:28 p.m.
You don't remember Trooper McGarrian ever telling you this,
I do not recall that.
okay? Well, do you remember when you were speaking to Donna Olasak or Shannon Olasak, whether anyone asked them if they went to the Walmart at 4:30 in the afternoon?
I don't recall the question.
Who was there?
She said he was there. He was there.
She's asking him if he recalls that being said. So it's really his recollection based on his direct experience. So how's that hearsay?
Yes, Your Honor, it's the substance of the third party statement, not here.
Okay, well, so at this point I think he said he didn't recall. So let's just get to, I'm going to overrule it for now, but go ahead.
Thank you. So, do you remember, sir, when you were interviewing, or you were present when Don Olasak and Shannon Olasak were interviewed, whether or not you ever heard anyone ask them about whether they went to the Walmart at around 4:30, 4:28:15 on March 29, 2010?
I don't recall.
If you had asked about the Walmart, would it have been included in any report that you're aware of?
I'm sorry.
In other words, if you had asked about Walmart, would it be something that would be included in a report?
I would assume so.
Well, it's a pretty significant thing, right? A witness told you that he was home all day. You have a receipt that he was at Walmart, and you're interviewing the wife or the sister, and nobody asks them?
I don't recall the question.
being asked?
Correct.
Okay. Now, sir, we talked a little bit about you being aware that you got the credit card receipts from Mark Olzak. That happened sometime in 2011, right?
It's a Walmart.
And that was your reason, once you looked at the credit card receipts, that was your reason for going and interviewing, one of the reasons for going into interviewing Don Olzak and Shannon Olzak, is that right?
Objection, Your Honor. This witness has not testified that he has seen these receipts.
Well, the question was whether that was the reason. So
Bring the receipts.
he can clarify that with his answer, but that's not the question. So overruled.
I'm sorry, could you
Sure.
repeat the question?
Was one of the reasons that you were going to interview Donna Olzak and Shannon Olzak was to clarify these credit card receipts from Mark Olzak, is that right?
I went along with the trooper. And I don't know the reason why if that was the direct reason why he was interviewing her.
You don't know?
I don't know
Okay.
his reasoning.
Well, you knew that you were there because there was some claim now that with both Shannon Olzak, Donna Olzak, and Mark Olzak were at the Bob's Discount Furniture Store on March 29, 2010, right?
Correct.
And in the course of your investigation, did you learn, or did Trooper McGarren tell you, that he had gone to the Bob's Discount Furniture Store and looked at video and didn't see any video of Mark Olzak, Shannon Olzak, or Donna Olzak at the Bob's Discount Store? Did you learn that?
So that is sustained, I think, okay.
I'm sorry, but I didn't understand.
So I'm sustaining that objection.
Okay, I'll ask a different question. Before you interviewed Shannon Olzak and Donna Olzak, did you learn that Trooper McGarren had pulled the video of the Bob's furniture?
Objection.
Did you learn?
So this is just, we're still talking about what he knew about the investigation.
That's right.
All right. And again, ladies and gentlemen, these questions and the testimony in response to these questions is not being offered for its truth. It's really as to this witness's state of mind as it related to his role in this investigation. It should be considered only for those purposes. Go ahead.
So, sir, let me ask you again. Before you went to interview Donna Olzak and Shannon Olzak, did you learn from anyone in the investigation that Trooper McGarren had been to the Bob's Discount Furniture, had looked at the video, and had not seen anyone on it?
From what I can recall, yes.
And when you interviewed Don Olzak and Shannon Olzak, is it fair to say that Donna Olzak told you that the day that her daughter usually comes home to have dinner was on Wednesdays, not Mondays, which was the day of the murder?
I don't recall that.
You read the highlighted portion, paragraph 1, last sentence.
Paragraph 1, last sentence, okay.
Does that refresh your memory, sir, as to whether or not you, when you were there interviewing Donna Olzak, that she noted that Wednesdays Shannon usually has dinner with the family?
I don't recall the statement.
You don't? I thought you had a great memory. You remember
Objection,
those
Your
things.
Honor.
Sustained.
You don't recall?
I don't recall that statement.
Do you see it in Trooper McGarren's report?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, sir, in terms of what you recall, because I know you have a good memory, what you recall the interview was about with Donna Olzak, do you remember anyone asking her about when her daughter comes back to have dinner?
I don't.
Well, you knew, sir, that the reason you were asking her about dinner was that Mark Olzak had claimed that his daughter came home for dinner, and that they went to the Bob's Furniture, right? You learned that in the course of your investigation, right?
Yes.
And so you don't remember, as you sit here today, Donna Olzak telling you that the date that her daughter came home was Wednesday, not Monday?
I don't.
What about Shannon Olzak? When you interviewed Shannon Olzak, do you remember her saying that she believed she took a day off from work to go furniture shopping with her parents, followed by dinner at her parents' home? Do you remember her saying that?
You're in timeout.
I don't have any recollection of that statement.
Do you remember anyone asking her what day? What day was it?
Welcome.
Did you do it on a Monday? Did you do it on a
Welcome.
Wednesday?
I don't recall.
It would have been pretty important in the investigation to know whether or not Shannon Olzak came home on a Wednesday or a Monday, right?
Correct.
And as you sit here today, you don't have any memory at all of what Shannon Olzak may have said or Dawn Olasak may have said, right?
Correct.
And that includes anything else that they may have said in this investigation. Is that right, sir? You just have no memory. It's a blank to you.
I don't recall.
Now, sir, do you recall before you interviewed Shannon Olasak and Donna Olasak that you learned in the investigation that Mark Olasak had been sleeping in Annamarie Rintala's pink sleeping bag? Remember learning that, sir?
Oh, yes.
And that at least somebody in the investigation thought that was odd, right?
Correct.
Okay. And at this point, when you found out that he was sleeping in Annamarie Rintala's sleeping bag in the course of your investigation, did you already have the phone records that showed that he deleted that text from 153?
I don't recall.
Also, do you remember learning in the course of your investigation that Mark Olasak deleted a text to Annamarie Rintala at 152 or 153 on March 29, 2010?
Yes.
And he didn't delete a text at 8:15 that night to Annamarie Rintala. He just deleted the one from 152 or 153. Is that right?
From what I can recall.
Now, sir, in the course of your investigation, when you spoke to Dawn Olasak and Shannon Olasak and got that information from them, do you know whether or not anyone went back and interviewed Mark Olasak about what his wife and his daughter had told you?
I don't know.
Do you know if anyone ever asked Mark Olasak why he deleted that text at 152 or 153 on March 29, 2010?
I don't know.
Did you learn from interviewing Dawn Olasak that there was some tension in the Olasak family regarding Mark Olasak's credit card extension? In other words, 3 credit cards to Annamarie Rintala. Did you learn that?
I believe so.
Okay, and that was, and do you remember Donna Olasak telling you that she had found out about 2 of the credit cards and there was some sort of argument, right, between her and her husband? You learned that, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis?
The basis is, this is not going any longer to this officer's state of mind or why he did or didn't do something. This is now putting it for a different purpose.
Can you ask the question a little differently?
Sure. Did you learn when you were interviewing Donna Olasak on January 15, 2011, that her and her husband had fights over Mark Olasak's opening 3 credit cards in Annamarie Rintala's name? Did you learn that, sir?
Your Honor, same objection, same question.
Who's there?
So I'm going to overrule the objection, but again, members of the jury, this evidence isn't being introduced and should be considered is to the truth of the statements that you heard, but rather how this witness considered that information and what he did with it as an investigation or an investigator in this case.
Can you answer that? You would ask it again.
Yes, please, sorry.
So did you learn in the course of your investigation of Donna Olasak that she learned that Mark Olasak had allowed or had taken out 3 credit cards in Annamarie Rintala's name?
Yes.
And in fact, did she tell you that she first found out about 2 of the credit cards and confronted Mark Olasak? Did she tell you that in the course of your investigation?
Yes.
And that there was in fact 3 credit cards? She found out later, right?
Correct.
That her husband had lied to her about the number of cards that he had out in Annamarie Rintala's name. Is that right?
Yes.
And you remember during the course of your investigation learning that the way she found out about the 3rd credit card is she went to go open up her own credit card and that credit card came up on her credit report. Do you remember that, sir?
I don't.
You remember that part?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Now, sir,
Oh, hold on.
when you interviewed Donna Olasak on June 15, 2011, do you remember her telling you that she asked her husband not to work with Annamarie Rintala any longer?
I believe so.
And did you learn in the course of your investigation he continued to work with Annamarie Rintala?
I believe so.
And did you learn in the course of
Hold on. I had to pause this for a second because let me tell you that I had this up. Happy anniversary, Christine D. I had this up and I look over and where yard cam normally is, I see Christine D's cat face picture. And at first I thought it was like, this is how tired I am. It looked like there was a cat in Lucy cam. And I was like, where the hell did that cat come from? Never mind.
your investigation that in fact, Mark Olasak, went on a trip with Annamarie Rintala to Connecticut shortly before her death.
Objection.
Overruled.
Did you learn that, sir?
I believe so.
Need
And
sleep.
they went to Connecticut for the day, and did you learn that there was some talk about purchasing a dog?
I don't recall.
Okay, so you know they spent the day in Connecticut, you don't know what they did.
Correct.
Do you ever remember becoming aware of the fact that Mark Olasak had withdrawn some money, about $250 from his account the day that he and Annamarie Rintala were in Connecticut? You ever learning that, sir?
I don't remember learning that.
No, sir. Do you remember, after having learned that Mark Olasak lied to his wife about his relationship with Annamarie Rintala, whether or not anyone went back to Mark Olasak and re-interviewed him?
I'm sorry, I don't recall.
You don't recall whether or not he was re-interviewed?
Correct.
Okay. Did you learn in the course of your investigation whether or not, after you interviewed Ron Olasak and Shannon Olasak, whether or not there were any efforts to try to get additional receipts for the stores that Mark Olasak had been to on the day of March 29, 2010?
I don't recall that.
Do you remember learning from Trooper McGarry or anyone else that because so much time had passed before anyone requested the receipts, that many of the receipts from whatever Mark Olasak did that day were not available?
Objection.
Can I take off the side?
Is this another sidebar?
Sir, all the information you were just asked about and these interviews and receipts and whatnot, was that all done before Cara Rintala was charged in this case?
I believe so.
Let me ask you
I'm not
this.
sure.
Do you recall whether Cara was charged in October of 2011?
That's the exact date. I don't recall what the exact date was.
Not the exact date, but latter half of 2011.
Correct.
Who was the lead investigator in this case?
Trooper McGarry.
And who is Trooper McGarry?
He's part of the State Police Detective Unit.
And were you making independent decisions as to what investigative steps to take in this case?
No.
Who was making those decisions?
Trooper McGarry.
And this June 15th, 2011 report that you were shown regarding an interview with Donna and Shannon Olasak, I believe you used the phrase, I went along with Trooper McGarry for that interview.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
It was his interview and I was just there, going along on the interview.
And what would be the purpose of a second officer or second sergeant such as yourself going along with a state police detective?
To be part of the process.
Did you write a report based upon those interviews?
I did not.
And who did?
Trooper McGarry.
Now, these questions or the information that you learned during the investigation established that on the afternoon of March 29th, 2010, Mark Olasak was shopping in Westfield, am I right?
Correct.
And there were at least one receipt from that afternoon shopping in Westfield, correct?
For what I was told, yes.
Okay. And just to orient us, the area in Westfield where Mr. Olacek was shopping that afternoon compared to Brandi. Are you familiar with those locations or where the towns of Brandi and Westfield are?
Yes,
And have you driven from either Brandi to Westfield or Westfield to Brandi throughout your time here in Western Mass?
yes.
And how would you approximate the travel time from one location to the other?
Overruled. Depending on traffic, half hour.
And after speaking with Shannon Olacek and speaking with Donna Olacek and investigation of receipts and talking to Mr. Olacek, was he considered a suspect any longer?
I don't believe so.
Now, let me ask you some questions, sir, about some prior testimony in this case that Attorney Scarpiccio asked you about. She first asked you some questions this morning about your description of Anne-Marie's arms being 6 to 8 inches off the ground. Do you remember that?
Yes,
And she asked you whether or not you said that in 2013, am I right?
yes,
She then asked you whether you said that in 2014, correct?
yes,
She then asked you if you
6 to
said that
8
in
inches off the
2016,
ground.
correct?
yes,
And as a witness, you testified in cases before, correct?
correct,
You only answer the questions that are asked of you.
correct.
So going back to 2013, pages 17 and 18. If you could review those 2 pages, I believe you were showing them a little bit earlier this morning. Sir, as you're reading that, let me tell you what my next question will be. My next question will be whether anyone in 2013 asked you to estimate how far off the ground Anne-Marie's arms were.
Want me to read both pages?
Yes.
You're a bad dog. You're a bad dog. I eat the factor meals.
Were you asked that question back then?
They're not
Were you
frozen
asked to
ever,
estimate
so they're
the
good.
inches or the distance between Anne-Marie's arms and the floor in 2013?
I was not.
That's why you didn't say it.
Correct.
You were then asked if you had said 6 to 8 inches in 2014, directing your attention to page 77, the left-hand side. I believe you were shown the same page earlier. Same question, sir. Did anybody in 2014 ask you how far off the ground her arms were?
I eat nothing but factor meals and Publix chicken with that barbecue sauce that
Were you asked that question?
I was not.
That's why you didn't say it.
Correct.
I
You
don't
were also
the
asked about your testimony in 2016,
Ow.
and I'll refer your attention to.
I haven't tried the
page 20.
medium, but that mild sauce. Oh,
Again,
so
you can
good.
review that with an eye toward whether you were asked by anybody to estimate the distance. Were you asked that question?
I was not.
Did you give that answer? Is that why you didn't say 6 to 8 inches?
Correct.
In each of those instances, sir, when you were asked to describe Anne-Marie's arms and the positioning of them, did you describe them as being suspended off the ground?
Yes,
Now, you were also asked questions about whether you had used the word rigid prior to yesterday, correct?
correct.
And what do you understand the term rigid to mean? When you use rigid, what's your definition of rigid?
Rigid stiffness, for me, it's
Synonymous?
synonymous.
And in 2013, you were asked by Attorney Scarpiccio whether in 2013 you had used the word rigid, correct?
Correct.
Now, turning your attention to page 20 from 2013, line 23. How did you describe Anne-Marie's body at that point?
Stiff.
In 2014, you recall also being asked to describe Anne-Marie's body as you were rotating it so Cara could get out from underneath the body.
Yes,
Direct your attention to page 83, line 17. Page 83, line 17. You recall that answer you gave, sir? And how did you describe her body at that point?
as to be as in one unit when we rolled it. Rolled her.
And in 2016, you were asked by Attorney Sakicho this morning whether you had used the term rigid, correct?
Correct.
And page 27, lines 7 through 20.
I've never seen so much arguing
What
over the
term
word
did you use
rigid.
In 2016 to describe her body as you moved it.
Go read the whole thing.
If you
Or just the words
review
I-
the page to yourself.
Okay.
I love this chat.
And what terms do you recall using 7 years ago, sir?
That the body was stiff.
Which you associate with rigid.
Yes.
So your adjective has changed over time?
Yes.
Has your understanding, description, your perception of her body changed at all?
No.
Now, you were also asked about people going in and out through the side door as you were keeping the crime scene locked, correct?
Yes.
As investigators were going in and out of that door, did you ever see any of them manipulating, changing, or damaging anything?
Did not observe that.
Did you see any of them carrying a shovel in or out of the house?
I did not.
That's all the questions I have for you, sir. Thank you.
So, sir, let's talk about Lady Aggie just asked you. This is the testimony in 2013. She said the reason that we didn't say 6 to 8 inches is because nobody asked, right?
Correct.
Sir, weren't you asked specifically, what did you observe about her arms? Weren't you asked that at like line 9 on page 17? Remember that, sir?
Are you showing it to me or do I remember?
Sure.
Line 17?
Yes.
I'm sorry, which line did you want?
Here, look. Oh, sorry.
Up here? Is that what
Right
you-
here, yes.
Okay. Line 9. Okay.
I was going to say, you were asked to describe, in 2013, describe her arms, right?
Yes.
And no one told you, don't say 6 to 8 inches. They just said describe her arms, right?
Yes.
You didn't say anything about 6 to 8 inches, is that right?
Correct.
Now, sir, you indicated that rigid, stiff, in your mind is the same thing, is that right?
Yes.
And, sir, you understand, because the chief of police, who testified a lot, that consistency matters in your testimony, right?
Correct.
And so when you start using different terms, it seems inconsistent. Is that fair to say?
Objection.
Is that fair to say, sir?
Correct.
Because you're an officer, you're a chief, you understand the importance of being consistent, right?
Yes.
And one of the other things you weren't consistent about, sir, was your description yesterday of the V in Annamarie Rintala's legs that didn't move when you moved the body. Do you remember that, sir?
Yes.
And you hadn't said anything about that in 2013, right?
Correct.
You hadn't said anything about that in 2014, right?
Correct.
And you didn't say anything about that in 2016, right?
From what I can recall, correct.
That was something that you just said for the first time yesterday, right?
From what I can recall, correct.
For those of you just joining us, welcome.
And sir, maybe again, you asked you about some receipts that we're trying to track down from Mark Olzak. Remember those questions a minute ago?
Correct.
And you remember about a receipt somewhere not in Brandi, is that right?
Correct.
You had told, to say you told me you didn't remember anything about the receipt, right?
I remember seeing that receipt you showed me.
Okay. But you remembered when maybe again he asked you about a receipt in a town outside of Brandi, right?
Correct.
Where was that? Was that Home Depot?
I believe so.
So I asked you about Home Depot, and you said you don't remember seeing that. But you remembered it when the prosecutor asked you, right?
Correct.
I have no further questions.
G. Smith. Again, with respect to the V shape of Annamarie's legs. I didn't ask you that in 2013, 14, or 16, did I?
No.
But I asked you it yesterday.
Correct.
And you answered it yesterday.
Correct.
Thank you.
One more. One last.
One more.
All right. Sir, you were asked to describe her legs in 2013, 14, and 16, and you never said remained in this V shape. Is that fair to say, sir?
Fair to say.
I have nothing further.
You may step down. Thank you.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so we're gonna end right here. We're going to end right here at the 1 hour and 17. Let me write it down so we can pick back up in the morning. 1:17:48. Day 2. All right. So we're gonna stop right here. We are going. Everybody, go take cold showers. He took off running for the parking lot. He's like, if I have to talk about 6 to 8 rigid inches one more time. Oh my gosh. Y'all are hilarious. I love our chat. I have missed this so much, being so busy. I have and having that time off. I have missed this. Y'all are off the rails. All right. Everybody go take cold showers. The plan for tomorrow, we have so tomorrow's going to be another busy day. We're going to try to fit in as much as we can during the day. We have there's a Melly bond hearing, and it should be pretty short, but I want to watch it just so we can see if he gets bond. I'm not going to advertise it because then we'll get other people in our chat, but just so y'all know, we'll watch a little bit about that. And Karen Reed has a hearing tomorrow, the one that I'm doing the podcast on. I don't know if it's going to be streamed. Got to fit it all in. Yeah. Cold showers, all of you. I don't know if it's going to be streamed. If it is, then I want to watch that one because that one's going to be wild. And then we have the footage from today for the sex therapist trial was 3 hours. And then we've got today. I mean, we've got so much to do. So I think what we might do is wait on the sex therapist stuff, because those are only getting released in like 2 or 3 hour blocks each day. So what we might do is wait till there's a few of them and watch them together, and do it that way. So I think tomorrow what we're going to do is just focus on this one, and then we'll watch the Melly hearing to see if he gets bond, and then watch the Karen Reed hearing if they do have it. Neither of those are going to last too long. Of course, we thought that about Murdoch today too, so we'll see how that goes. But neither of them are supposed to last too long. But then we'll try to focus back on this and finish this, and then we'll wait on the sex therapist trial to get a few more of the things together, and then try to watch and get caught up. So it's like we go from like there's nothing that we need to cover right now to all of a sudden we have 15 things. It's like that every time. Thank you so much, Kelly P. Thank you so much. It is a lot of hard work. I'm going to take about an hour and a half break right now and relax for a little bit. And then I am going to, and then I'm going to work on the podcast some more, so I can get the next episode ready. So, but the sex therapist trial is just moving so slow. So I would just want to pump the brakes on it for a minute and wait until they get some more of those. Instead of trying to do it 3 hours at a time, we'll wait until we can get more of it together and watch it. But until then, we're going to focus on this one. I said pump the brakes. Y'all are, man. Okay, y'all go take cold showers. I appreciate this. I needed this. You know what I love about this chat? The internet can be a great place, and there's like so much support and love and great things. And there's also it's nice because there's just constant information at your fingertips, and you can get to find people who you connect with and all these things. But then it can also be like a really crappy place. Like somebody put on one of my comments that it was painful. Like listening to my commentary is painful and stuff like that. So it's like I get that kind of crap, and it's like to work as hard as I do and as many hours as I do, and then get crap like that. I'm like, what the heck? But then I read that, and that's annoying. And then I come in here, and I'm like, and everybody's just like, it's just so fun, and everybody's so nice, and everything's so, y'all got a little wild today. Let's be honest. This last hour and a half, y'all got a little wild. But I'm here for it. I loved it. I love y'all. Y'all are the best. I appreciate it so much. Oh, yes. The interview with the Dr. G was awesome, too. So, so much happening, y'all. So much happening. All right. So, tomorrow, our plan for tomorrow. Let's start at, I think that first hearing is at 9, I believe. So, Eastern time. So we'll start just a little bit before that. I am not, just so our group knows, we're going to watch the Melly hearing. I am not going to advertise that because I just as tired as I am right now, I don't have it in me to deal with the people who come just to fight. So we will watch that bond hearing because it's going to be interesting, and I want to see what they have to say. But then we'll watch the Karen Reed if that one is streamed, and then we'll go right back into watching paint dry. And hopefully y'all will be fresh and clean tomorrow. All right. Y'all, happy Friday Eve. I've enjoyed this time with y'all sincerely. It has been 16 objections. In this? Wow. And we've only been watching it for an hour and 20 minutes. That's crazy. That's crazy. I said it. All right, so we're going to start a little bit before 9 tomorrow. Georgia Culture said, well, okay, bye. We are going to start a little bit before 9 tomorrow. Probably about like Eastern time, probably about like 8:45-ish. Somewhere around in that general ballpark, and get this party started. So Kelly P said 6 a.m. Pacific. Yes, but it's going to be for the hearings. It's not going to be for this part yet. So we're going to get the hearings out of the way first because those are scheduled, and then we will get caught up. So I appreciate y'all hanging out. This has been a busy day, but we have had bring your thesaurus, every single possible word that we can find to avoid the word fresh and rigid. We're going to do it. So bring your thesaurus tomorrow. Oh, that's crazy. 24 objections first day. Wow. That's a lot, y'all. Like, that's a lot. And then there are some where they just like, they don't even know what the word objection means. It's crazy. All right. Yeah, and bring your calculator too, because we didn't come here to math. Oh, speaking of calculator, let's see. Let's take one more look. All right, we are at 9,534 subs. So I didn't come here to math, but that means that we need less than 500. So I think that's awesome. Very exciting. All right, y'all. I appreciate it so much. If you have not hit the like button, please do so on your way out. And I will see y'all bright and early on Friday. It's one of two trials, Brandi. But look, Marie, we'd be lost without Marie Moss. She keeps us on our toes. She did come here to math, and we love you for it. All right, I will see y'all bright and early, a little bit before 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So y'all go out into the world, be kind. Don't be like those other losers who are not kind, because that's not who we are. That's who they are. And that's why I love y'all and not them. I appreciate y'all. I will see you bright and early in the morning.